All the cool kids from my corner of BookTube have been doing it, so today, in a desperate attempt to join the club, I'm going to show you my DAWs. My name is Brett, and this is The Beast Reads. I've been buying and reading DAW books for a very long time. They publish so many of my favorite authors, and I found many new favorites by looking for the distinctive yellow spine and the DAW logo. One of the favorite authors they published was Andre Norton. They started with Spell of the Witch World, a Witch World story. Some more Witch Worlds that they published. The Crystal Griffin, and then some book of short stories, the book of Andre Norton. I'm not much of a short story guy, but had to buy the Norton one. Earth Burden, and then Lore of the Witch World. I don't know if there may be more Witch Worlds, but I didn't buy them as I'm not that much into fantasy. Oh, another one, The Horn Crown. Some fun ones I found. Transit to Scorpio by Alan Burt Akers. Sort of a John Carter on Mars, kind of like the Witch World, go to a different world, that kind of thing. The Sons of Scorpio. And The Warrior of Scorpio. That was all of those that I bought. I must have got bored with them. And we've got Hayden of Ancient Opar. Farmer's kind of an off-again, on-again author for me. I liked River World. And then The Flight to Opar, sort of a Burroughs pastiche, I believe they call it. And I've got John Jakes, Mention My Name in Atlantis. It always cracked me up when people talked about John Jakes writing the North and South. That was a miniseries long ago. They didn't know he wrote stuff like that. We got Lynn Carter, The Warrior at World's End. I believe that's the only DAW Carter I have. Good editor, kind of a mid-range to me author. Another goofy author, Ron Goulart. If you want something funny and oddball, give Goulart a try. We got Gerald Klein, The Moat in Time's Eye. I don't believe I've ever read this. I don't think I've ever read anything by Klein. We got E.C. Tubb, The Jack of Swords. One of the Dumarest novels is Dumarest 14. It's the only one I bought. I must have seen it in the DAW and grabbed it. Did not care for it enough to buy any more, which is a shame because there's so many of them. We got John Brunner, Interstellar Empire. I love Interstellar Empire stories, although this is the only Brunner I have. I don't think he wrote any more space opera-ish things like that. We've got Pursuit of the Screamer by Ansel Dybel. It says, high SF adventure on a par with Norton and Bradley. Well, compare it to Andre Norton, I gotta buy it. And I did. And we got The Warrior Within by Sharon Green. It doesn't say, but obviously, if you like John Norman, you will like Sharon Green. Yeah, I didn't really like John Norman, and that's the only Sharon Green I have. One I like. Christopher Anvil, Pandora's Planet. This is a fun story. Aliens come to Earth to conquer us, and we end up taking over the galaxy. So, I thought it was a very clever story. Clever enough, I got the next one I saw, Warlord's World by Anvil. Serviceable science fiction. Not as clever, I thought, as Pandora's Planet. We got Arthur H. Landis, A World Called Camelot. These stories remind me again of The Witch World, where a guy goes to a planet and there's magic and stuff like that. Sort of Witch World, the Warlock stories by Christopher Stan Sheaf. Not bad. I kept buying them. Camelot in Orbit. And Home to Avalon. Those were good enough, I guess. And we got Gordon Dixon, Tactics of Mistake. I had read this from a library years earlier and really liked it. And then DAW started publishing more by Dixon and more of the Dorsey books that I hadn't read. Naked to the Stars. Hour of the Horde. Dorsey. Soldier Ask Not. None But Man. I don't believe that's a Dorsey book. Necromancer. That's kind of related to Dorsey. Oh, here's some nice Tanith Lees. The Stormlord. Had to buy that. Look at the cover. It says on the back cover, equal with Le Guin, Brackett, Norton, C.L. Moore, and others. So, compare her to Norton, I got to try her. And I did. We got The Birthgrave by Tanith Lee. Vazcor, Son of Vazcor. Had to buy that just because of the cover and the name. Quest for the White Witch by Tanith Lee. And these were fun. We got Gregory Kern, Beyond the Galactic Lens. It's number 9 or 10 or something in this Cap Kennedy series. But it's the only yellow spine DAW in the Cap Kennedy. But I had bought the others. I'd bought, well, Cap Kennedy 1, 2, and 3. Even if they're not with the yellow spine. But had to buy them. Now we're getting into the bulk of my collection. 3 of my favorite all-time authors that I discovered through DAW books. A. Bertram Chandler, The Big Black Mark. When I found this book, I'd never read any Chandler, never even heard of Chandler. I bought that halfway through. I'm thinking, oh, this is an author I have got to look up. I got to find if he's got more. And apparently he had written for years before this DAW. So I went to used bookstores buying the older Chandler books. And as they came out from DAW at the new bookstores, I would buy them. Star Courier, The Way Back, a fairly clever time travel story. To Keep the Ship, and yes, those little naked women running around on the ship are running around on the ship. The Far Traveler, and yes, it is a golden spaceship. The Broken Cycle, yeah, I guess there's a broken cycle in it. Star Loot. The Anarch Lords. Matilda's Stepchildren. Not a Yellow Spine. The Last Amazon. And then, again, not yellow, The Wild Ones. I just kept buying Chandler books as they came out. And buying old ones too. I have more than that in the older editions. Another author DAW helped me discover was Joe Clayton with their Diadem series. Diadem of the Stars, the first one. I had seen this in the bookstore for years. Passed it up. So I don't know if I thought it was too girly or what. Even with, it says, Andre Norton fans should check this one out. I still didn't check it out. Didn't trust it. And then the more I'd see them in the used bookstores when I was looking for Chandler, same shelf. And so I finally picked up the Diadem for Stars, read it, and thought, well, this is great. Now I got to go get the rest of them. So I bought them new and used as I found them. The second one was Lamarchos, Ursud, and yes, that is a bug woman on the cover. Maeve by Clayton. That was obviously bought at a used store. Another one I bought used, Star Hunters. The Nowhere Hunt, DAW edition, but one of the very few where the pages are falling out. Every edition of the Nowhere Hunt, I tried to find more, but every edition I ever found in a store, the glue wasn't working, so the glue guy at the factory messed up. Yeah, Ghost Hunt, The Snares of Ibex, Not a Yellow Spine. Neither was Ghost Hunt, but I kept buying, had to finish. And Quester's Endgame. Not a yellow, but had to finish the series. That's how much I liked it. At the same time, I was buying the new Claytons and Chandlers as they came out from DAW. I was finding older ones in the used bookstore and buying those. So thanks to DAW, I found two of my favorite authors right there. I found my all-time favorite author because of DAW books and a cover blurb by Andre Norton. The Gate of Ivral by C.J. Cherry. The first Cherry book published. I bought it because of the blurb. Liked it enough. I'll give Cherry Woman a try. Keep giving it a try. Bought the second one, Well of Shion. And then Fires of Azeroth. They were just exciting enough, adventurous enough, bordering on science fiction. I kept reading and kept buying Cherry books. And then much later, Not a Yellow Spine, Exile's Gate, with an awesome cover by Whelan. Leans more into the science fiction side, ties it all into Cherry's Union Alliance books, which I was buying along the same time. One of the early ones was the Fated Sun series, by starting with Kisrith and Fated Sun Sonjur and Fated Sun Katoth, set way down the timeline in the Alliance Union books. And in Brothers of Earth, another one down the timeline. Hunter of Worlds and Voyager and Night. Chris, this is one for you. You like weird? This is as weird as Cherry gets. It's set in the Alliance Union, but you don't really need to read any other books by her to read that one. And trust me, weird is the word for it. So buying all those as they came out, I was buying the Cherry, kept giving it a try, she was growing on me. I read Down Below Station. Very good book. Very science fiction I love. Spaceships, pirates, space stations being under attack. Wonderful stuff. Read that. And then the next book I saw, next book by Cherry that I saw, The Pride of Chinur. This book blew me away. This was so good. It was so good, I had to get everything I could by Cherry. It was so good that then when I found a used copy at a bookstore, I had to buy it, mainly because it was signed. And then years later after that, bought a new one, Not Yellow Spine. Got this at, I believe it was 1998 Worldcon in Baltimore. Cherry was author guest of honor, Michael Whelan artist guest of honor. I got them both to sign it. So not Yellow Spine, but prized possession. After reading Pride of Chinur, I was hoping for more of those books, and they were coming. But the book published right after was Merchanters' Luck, which may be my favorite all-time book. After reading this, I started devouring Cherry. That's the one that I thought was just perfect. This woman knows how to write. I got to buy everything she's writing. And then we started back with the Chinur series, Chinur's Venture. Not Yellow Spine. Kif Strike Back, not yellow. Chinur's Homecoming, not yellow. Had to buy them to finish the series. Awesome stuff. Liked Cherry so much by then that I was buying everything I could find, new and used. I got The Tree of Swords and Jewels and The Dreamstone, her take on fairy books. Not much into fantasy, so don't really care for those. Was hoping for more Alliance Union. Got one with Port Eternity, another weird story. Before you read Port Eternity, I would read Cytine, give you a feel for the Z in there. See the Cherry Sunfall. Obviously bought this one used. Got a used bookstore on it, tag on it. Short stories. And we got Wave Without a Soar. Wave Without a Shore even. Another weird one. Some of the early Cherry were kind of weird. Serpent's Reach, very space opera-y kind of thing, revenge story. Hestia, I don't have a yellow spine copy. Hestia, but you gotta love that cover. 40,000 in Guyana. Another one, read Cytine before you read that one. Cuckoo's Egg. It's related to the Alliance Union. You don't have to read the other books to read this one. It ties in at the end and very satisfying. Not yellow spine, but I was buying every cherry I could find. Another, not yellow spine, Angel with the Sword by C.J. Cherryh. This was the first hardcover printed by DAW. Signed. And then two special books I got at Worldcon, whenever the 30th anniversary of DAW Books was. They had a special signing. They had DAW 30th anniversary science fiction by many of their authors, and 30th anniversary fantasy by DAW. They had a program at Worldcon where they had the launch for the book, and they had a lot of authors signing. There was Michelle West, Jane Fancher, Irene Radford, Deborah J. Ross, Melanie Ron, Jennifer Roberson, Charles Ingrid, Tad Williams, Frederick Pohl, and C.J. Cherryh. I've got them all to autograph those books. I've even got Betsy Wollheim and Sheila Gilbert, the editors, to autograph it. That may be the end of my DAW Yellow Spine collection, and a few bonuses. If you've enjoyed listening to me dawdle along about these books, give the video a like. It don't cost nothing. And remember, Styx is the greatest American rock band.